Okay, so welcome. This practice that we're going to center on today has been entitled by a few people called A Practice to Welcome Everything. So I've been thinking that I'm going to welcome this foggy, rainy morning as part of my what I'm going to be welcoming today. But also other things. So go ahead and start off getting comfortable. Just kind of settling back and down onto your seat. Allowing your eyelids to close, even perhaps inviting the eyelids to close in a kind way. And then coming into the breath and come into the body. And just letting your breathing assume a natural rhythm. So the intention of practicing this welcoming brief meditation is to discover and to connect with the very real fact that happiness isn't determined simply by what is external in our lives, but also what is internal, and perhaps even more so of what is internal. And then to be open to everything means to embrace paradox and embrace contradiction, as well as keeping our minds and hearts open with kindness. So embracing what is we are experiencing doesn't necessarily mean that we have to like what is happening or that we approve of what is happening, or that we want or wish for what is happening, but that we can actually be with, though, what is happening. So just begin by noticing the various sensations in your body, the sense of pressure or weightedness of the body sitting here. Even perhaps sensing the edges of your body, the edges of the container that is the body, the shape of your body. And then see if you can kind of loosen the idea of the edges. Allow them to become a little kind of fluffy or loftier. And see if you can expand the idea of the body, becoming aware of the area that's all around the body. A sense of the space, perhaps above your head, to begin or to start with. How far does that space above your head extend? And then becoming aware of the space out to the left side of the body, extending it out, and then the right side. And then let awareness come into the area below the body. Perhaps even noticing if there's any vibration coming up from the floor that your feet or your legs detect. And then extend awareness to the area all around behind the body, backside, and extending out so that your awareness is filling the whole room that surrounds you. And then include the space in front of you so that awareness extends out as far as it possibly can. And take some deep breaths now, big breaths, just breathing in and out through the nose, calmly, still aware of this extended space around you, all around you, sense of openness, of boundless space. And then see if you can notice as you maintain this sense of spacious awareness around you. See if you can notice all of the activities of the body, all those sensations of the body and the mind and the heart are disappearing and appearing and disappearing in that open, welcome space. So as you notice experiences arising, just allow them to arise without any interference from you. If you are feeling very in need of interfering with your thoughts, perhaps, then perhaps just imagining yourself kind of reaching up with a finger and kind of poking, just touching lightly that thought, allowing it to move through the space, disappear into the vastness. It might be helpful to think of clouds moving through or past the blue sky, so that each of your experiences, the activities of the mind stuff, can move through as you sit. Continuing to give space. And remind yourself on occasion that whatever you can give space to can move. It's actually really kind of cool. And then you can increase that sense of space by breathing deep breaths. Just keep allowing the thoughts, the sensations in the body, and the emotions to arise and pass through in that vast, transparent, and clear, not disturbed by anything, awareness itself. So connecting with something that's very real in your brain right now. A sense of what is called your transcendent self. This ability that we have to become aware of a more vast, boundless perspective, and to develop this as a skill to help us become more resilient in our lives here on earth. So just stay for another half a minute in this boundless space where even the sound of my voice can pass through. As you sit, all right, then as you're ready, you can start to bring yourself back into the confines of the boundary of the edges of the body. You can feel your fingers, your hands, your feet. Feel your eyes, your smile. And then when you're ready, you can take your hands together, palms coming to meet in front of the heart center, bowing your head. And so it begins, the practice of yoga. Releasing your hands as you're ready. And so just even noticing how you have already transformed yourself in these just few moments, how things feel different. So let's we're going to start off. I want you, if you could, find a comfortable way for you to sit. We're going to do some things for the neck and for the shoulders and the arms. Sit on, if sitting in Virasana is difficult, you could sit on a bolster. So you want to be able to gain as much comfort as you can with how you're sitting. You could also go between, having your feet in the goddess. So you can kind of, when it feels like, your feet need to take a break, you can decide and change and then come back down to sitting on the tops of the feet. And again, you can have something on the heels to sit on, or you could be sitting on a block. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to raise up the screen so that you can see my arms and shoulders. So we're going to do first some neck stretching. So you can take your arm over your head here. If you can't take your arm, if you're limited in movement, you can't take your arm over, you can also just do this with, taking your ear toward the shoulder. I just kind of like the feeling of my arm over my head. It's comforting, I guess. So you're trying to take the ear toward the shoulder on the same side. So just stretching the neck, go gently. Just breathing. And when you can, take your hand kind of over the top of your head and push your head back on the top. So you recenter it, and then take your other arm over the head again, and you're going to take the ear to the shoulder. Just breathing. Stay with the breath. Noticing the changing sensations in the body, in your neck, anywhere else. And just take another deep breath. And then you can take your arm or your hand around your head and push your head back on top so everything is centered again. And then take your, excuse me, take your chin up. So you're opening up the front of your neck now, chin up. You can even kind of draw the chin up toward the ceiling. And then release. And another deep breath. And again, if you wish, you can use your hands to put your head back on top because those neck muscles have been kind of in an extreme stretch. And so now take the chin to toward the chest or toward the sternal notch. Back of the neck is lengthening now. I'm always so amazed that when I do this, how I feel sensation all the way down into my rhomboids. Like down between the shoulder blades. Try to remain grounded. Notice if you're ready to leap off your chair, your seat. And take one more breath. And again, if you wish, you could use your hands to put your head back on top. So then let's just shrug the shoulders. So this is kind of like doing shoulder rolls, but what I want you to think about is just taking your shoulders as far up toward the ears as you can. And just notice the muscles involved in that action. So you're trying not to roll them forward too much, although that might happen a little bit, but just try to take the shoulders up. So I was doing these the other day, I guess it was Tuesday, and I woke up on Wednesday morning and there were muscles in my shoulders and in my upper back that were sore. So this is like highly underrated, in terms of muscle building, strengthening. So just kind of shrug, you'll feel the squeeze, and then you can bring them back down again. And then you can alternate now between, the shrug and then now squeeze your rhomboids together. So these are the muscles that are between, you can imagine, where the shoulder blades are in the back body. So between where the inner angle of the shoulder blades and the spine, there are some sets of muscles in there, 2 sets. And so you're going to squeeze those in and hold if you can, or sometimes it's nice if you can squeeze like at the very top, almost up by the base of the neck, and then as you're going down your back, you can squeeze like the middle portion of the rhomboids, and then you can squeeze the very bottoms. Makes my voice go down an octave. Feels good. It's like a massage. I wish I could get the massage therapist that I actually paid for the massage, you know. I wish I could get him to do that. All right, and then release the squeezing of your rhomboids and then go back to the shrug. All the way up. My arms are kind of lifted even more, like I don't know, my arms are short. They're shrinking. And then can let that go. So do give yourself the chance to release the squeezing, you know, release and have a moment where everything relaxes. And then if you like, you can go back to the rhomboids. So if you can just sense the squeezing in of the shoulder blades, right? All right, I'm getting warm. Hope you are too. So now take your arms out by your side, straight out in a T. And we're going to rotate the arms so that they've moved between rotating out so that the palms face up toward the ceiling. And try, especially if you're someone who hyperflexes and locks your elbows, you know, when you straighten your arms, try to bend the elbows a little bit here. So the palms are going to alternate between facing up, and then you're going to do an internal rotation where either the palms face down, or if you can, you could try to roll them even more, rotate them even more. So just kind of go back and forth slowly between these two. And again, just notice if whenever, when we lock the elbows, it's an unconscious thing. So for those of us who do it, and I know because I do it. So it takes a lot of focus to not revert to that, that setting. It's like my factory settings. I revert to my factory settings and not my upgrades. So try to keep as you're rotating, notice what's happening in the chest. Breathe. All right, so just try to continue for maybe 3 more. Okay, so now just rest your arms. You can rest your hands on your legs for a moment. Hopefully your sitting posture is okay. You can remain that way for another few minutes. So now we're going to take the arms overhead. So kind of take them out to the side with the palms facing forward, and then just take them straight up. And then whatever is the closest that you can get them to be in parallel. Now, so you might not be able to take them, straight up over the shoulders. So you can go out kind of at a V, V shape, V for victory. So once you get your arms overhead, then again, unlocking the elbows, and see if you can take your shoulder blades down your back so that the sternum is lifting here as you're holding your arms up. And then you're going to take your palms forward. So whichever, if you're in a V, that's fine, or mine are kind of all over the place here. And then you're going to sweep your arms down in front of you and sweep them back. And then you can turn the palms again, so now they're facing forward. Try to spread the collarbones and take them back up. So it's almost like swimming butterfly, except when you swim the butterfly stroke, you bend your elbows a little bit. I used to be a butterflyer, so I know. So the palms are facing forward. And again, if your arms are out in a V, that's okay. I'm just going to do mine in a, with them straight up because that's what I can do. You can also take your chin up as you're looking up at your hands. Take a breath, and then we're going to sweep again. Arms come down in front and then back. Sweep them back and then turn, externally rotate the arms so the palms are facing out, and then come up and then look up at your hands. And then again, palms facing forward. Sweep your arms down. Your hands are in that blue light. So externally rotate the arms, palms come up, look up, reach up to the ceiling, but drop the pelvis. And again, let's do a couple more of these so that your arms are sore tomorrow. A good soreness though, right? Reach, sweep. So just go slow so you don't feel any worried muscle groups or worried joints that start to cramp. Let's do one more. And sweep. Then you can just take your arms back down again. Rest your hands on your lap. Good one, huh? All right, so then just take your hands into namaste. And as you are bringing your hands down so that the forearms are parallel to the floor. And really try to press the palms together. And just let the fingers spread. Try to keep the collarbones broad. And the shoulders are moving back, shoulder blades moving down your back. Lift the sternum. Let the sternum kind of swell a bit. Pressing the palms. All right, then you can release. Rest your hands again on your lap. You can roll your shoulders back a few times now. So you can exaggerate the circles, cross your arms in front of you. Take the chin up again. My head always wants to rise and it's probably seeking more space in my neck. So we're swimming again. You can imagine yourself swimming now, breaststroke in the air. You didn't know you were going to swim class, did you? All right. So one more before we change our seated posture. Or if you need to, of course, give yourself permission to move, change what's going on with your legs. So gomukhasana. So here again, you can take your arms out and bring them in the front, cross them. Oh, first give yourself a wild and crazy guy's hug. Wild hug. So even here in this hug position, this embrace, the chin, if it comes down, if you bring your head down and bring your chin down into that space that your arms are creating, and then pause for a moment, you're going to notice that the upper back and the rhomboids are now spreading. So see if you can kind of spread them even more. Breathe into the space between the shoulder blades and the spine. And then when you're ready, you can straighten yourself back up. So you're sitting up well aligned, ears above the shoulders. Feel a sense of dropping down through the pelvis. And then you can take your arms up. So again, if you're not taking the hands together, the arms are coming together and they're kind of out here in a V, that's okay. Just keep saying V for victory. If you had a strap, you could be putting the strap between your hands, or you could maybe hook your thumbs. Some people can hook their thumbs. So just do what you can. Just be with how you find yourself today, welcoming everything. Remember, making space around the experience of right now. And so then you can kind of move backwards, taking your arms out of Gomukhasana. Bring them up in the air again. As you reach, dropping the shoulder blades down your back. And then sweep them down. And we're going to recross them, this time putting the opposite arm on top in your embrace. Let's embrace again. Chin down into that nook there. And then you can put your head back on top and take your arms up. And so again, if you're here in a V, that's fine. Or you can take the hands together, that's fine too. Just breathe. Couple more breaths, two more big breaths. And as you're ready, taking your arms out again, sweep them out, sweep them up, and sweep them back. Externally rotate them, take them up. Track your hands with your eyes, looking up. And you can sweep them back again. Externally rotate them, bring them back up. I could do this all day. And then just bring your arms out to the side. You can do wrist twirlies as you bring your arms down. Okay. Okay, so then let's crawl forward. You can crawl forward off of your block, or if you're sitting on a chair, then of course you can just stand up. And you can open up the backs of your legs. So if you were sitting on a chair, you could just lean back on a wall. You could put your hands on a wall and stretch out your calf muscles this way, but with your hands on the wall. All right, so once the backs of your legs feel relatively normal, you could even sit back on your heels, and that will help increase the circulation, sitting in the goddess, sitting back on your heels. So what we're going to do now is do some breathing, some 3-part breath pranayama. So the goal of this, my intention for this practice is to focus on shoulders, opening the chest, finding strength. We just did a bunch of things with that opening sequence, that strengthening. So we're going to now focus on kind of the stretch of the torso, the rib cage from the inside that the lungs are going to provide in a deep breathing practice. So you can set up in a Supta Baddha Konasana for this. Whatever you're going to put under your legs, You can just do 2 blanket rolls, or I've been encouraging people to experiment with putting their maybe roll up blocks inside of a blanket if you need a higher lift, you know, under the legs, more support. The other thing that you can need to do is to create an incline. Okay, so you can put either, I think just 1 block will be fine. Put 1 block up towards where your head will be, so that or maybe a little bit lower, just so that the bolster doesn't kind of collapse in the middle, right? And then put a pillow here for your head, a small folded up blanket, so that your head is a little bit higher than everything else. So as you sit in Baddha Konasana, there will be that sense of the body going down a slide. So whatever you need for your legs, moving that up. So feet coming together, soles of the feet. Trying to keep the heels in contact as if the heels were magnetized to a metal mat, you know, so that anytime you're moving, you're adjusting your posture, you're kind of sliding your heels with intention along the floor. So here we are. I am trying to save the knees, 1 heel slide at a time. So go ahead and recline back. Nice. Work out any possible discomforts, anything that's uncomfortable. So wherever your hands are, you know, please try to have them be resting on something. So if you need them to be, you know, if they don't rest on the floor when you take them out to the sides like this, put something underneath them so that they feel grounded, like if it's a pillow or a block or a rolled up blanket, whatever. So some people have to have not just blankets underneath their legs for Baddha Konasana, but also the hands. Or you can even, if you're limited on props, you could slide the blanket up so that it's tucked in underneath the greater trochanters, and then the blanket might be available upper portion of it for your wrists, which is kind of nice. But then you don't have your calves. So there's, you know, figure out what will work the best for you. So adjust your head manually, take your chin down toward the throat. Close your eyes. So to begin, try to release the body. Have a sense that all the areas along the back side of the body that have contact with support or props of the floor, just see if you can relax those parts, each point of contact. Just breathe naturally to begin, making sure that your breathing is only happening in and out through the nose. Relax all the little muscles of your face. So to begin, just center your focus right in the center of your chest. And so just on some level, recognizing that this is sort of the upper portion of the upper part, top part of the volume of the lungs. And so as you're focusing there, see if you can begin to breathe into the area inside that space. Letting the sternum swell with each inhalation. Feeling the sense of the articulating rib cage. And just as you're focusing your attention here, let yourself fill with the breath. But really focusing on that spread of the collarbones, stretch of the rib cage, stretch of the lungs inside of the rib cage. And also then any sensation in the upper back, recognizing that the lungs extend clear into all the way to the back body. So as do the rib cage, as do the ribs. And noticing the condensing also experience on the exhalation, on the out breath. And so beginning to encourage on the out breath for as the rib cage is condensing, encouraging a more complete emptying. And so now we'll continue to inhale into the chest, but then also now include focus on inhaling into the middle portion, the second part. So the entire rib cage area, let's say. So breathing into the first part first, filling up, expanding, sternum swells, and then then the shoulder blades stretch, and then allowing the front of the ribs, the sides of the ribs to stretch outward as you continue to fill. And not beginning the next exhalation until you feel that you're all filled. First two parts particularly, and then exhaling all together, simultaneous exhalation, condensing the rib cage. That shrinking kind of sensation as you empty. Not beginning the next inhalation until you're completely emptied. Feel that sense of empty lungs. And then again, breathing into the center of the chest, sternum swells. Breathe into the shoulder blades, and the rib cage, sides of the ribs. All the way up, feeling that sense of expansive stretch. You're so full. Try not to be afraid of the stretch. Be curious about it. Of course, the emptying. So whenever you need to, you can resume breathing in a normal rhythm or a natural rhythm, especially if you feel like sometimes we get that sensation that we're not getting enough air when we practice pranayama, especially in the beginning. So go ahead and give yourself permission to breathe naturally for several rounds until you feel kind of like you've reset yourself, and then you can begin again with the next breath. So now let's begin to add in the third part. So you can start by inhaling into the center of the chest. Let the sternum lift and rise. And breathe into the shoulder blades, upper back. And breathe into the rib cage, front ribs, side ribs, and then the middle back. And then breathe into the belly. Release your navel out. And when it's time, you can let the rib cage condense and let the navel come back down toward the spine. If you can continue, if you need to take a couple natural breaths, don't be afraid to do that. Give yourself permission, but if you can keep going, inhaling to the top portion, top part. Sternum swells, and fill the shoulder blades, rib cage, front ribs, side ribs, back ribs. And then let the navel rise. And then also breathe into the lower back. Don't be afraid to just relax and let the air fill you, increasing the volume that you can hold. And then when it's time to exhale, let the rib cage condense, and the navel moves back down toward the spine. So continue for several more on your own, 3-part breaths. So see for the last few here, if you can, on the exhalations only, add in some viloma. So this is when you, add in the ujjayi. So this is when you are contracting the muscles of your vocal cords on the exhalations and making that slightly louder, kind of has like an ocean sound quality to it. So just letting the exhalations mechanically become as long as they possibly can, each one. So see what that's like, adding in your ujjayi. Try to remember to keep the sternum lifted, a sense of a swell, speaking of oceans, like a wave is under the sternum. If your chin starts to rise up, See if you can manually adjust your head again and bring your chin back down. Tilt your head back. Release any tension in your eyes, in the forehead. Noticing how each breath cycle is becoming quite long. Especially those exhalations. All right, so you can finish your last 3-part breath. Dirga Swasam with Ujjayi. And then let your breathing rhythm just become everyday, natural. And just kind of notice it for a few minutes. It has tangibly changed. And then see if you can also connect with the sense that everything is all right now. There may be things going on in the world that are difficult. Maybe things in your immediate day-to-day life going on that are difficult. But you can say in these moments, things may be difficult, are difficult. And I may be struggling, but I choose right now to experience something else. I choose to connect with that sense of what is okay. All right, so you can start to bring yourself back. So as you're coming back, you can kind of bend the elbows and bring your hands to rest on your belly. And then press the soles of your feet together. And as you do that, notice how the legs kind of pop up a little bit, engage. And so keep turning the feet towards the floor as you now bring the inner thighs together. And then slide each heel away one at a time. As you straighten the legs. Put the feet into Tadasana, so drawing the pinky sides of the feet towards you as you press out, lengthen out through each leg, out through the heel. And then you can take your hands to the mat, slide your elbows in closer to you so you can press up. Come to sit up. Okay. So then let's take a child's pose. So we're going to change the configuration of child's pose just a bit. So we're not going to have a bolster underneath the body. We're going to use a head for it. And also, if you need to, you can open up a blanket for your knees so that the knees are getting some extra cushioning. And you're going to just take your knees a little wide. Feet are still underneath you together, kind of in a traditional child's pose. So the head is going to end up being what's going to rest on the block, and the torso is going to end up kind of hovering in the air. And you're going to take your hands on either side of the block, and as you come down, slide the hands forward along the floor, and then you can bring your head to the block. So if you can't take your hands forward in a, with them kind of parallel, the arms parallel to each other, then when you slide them out, you can go a little wider. But we're trying to open the shoulders, You can even, if the block is, for me right now, the block is feeling a little too high, you can take the block out and put your forehead on the floor. If you like, you can also slide forward into more of a downward puppy kind of a posture where the chest dips to the floor and the chin rests on the floor. You can just keep sliding your hands forward. All right, and then you can start to push yourself on up. Go ahead and sit up. Oh, dog fur in my mouth. Okay, so let's sit now in Gomakasana. So you might need to sit on a bolster for this. That would be fine if that helps your hips to release. Go ahead and put a bolster under there. And then we take the one leg under for Gomakasana, and then we take the other leg over. So if you like, this leg can just kind of remain kind of propped up there like it's a kickstand, or you can take it around to the side. Sitting in Gomakasana. Oh, I think I need to, just while you're getting settled, I'm gonna lift my view screen. So just go easy, especially if your knees are unhappy. So if your knees are unhappy, just do it with one leg at a time. And when you do it with one leg at a time, keep that the ankle flexed. And you can have the leg going straight out. Actually, you could even like do it this way if you wanted to. Kind of play around with the possibilities. And then we're going to take so if the right leg is on the top, take the left arm up in the air. And it's going to go behind your back. And you can take your hand to the elbow, do a little tricep stretching. And take another breath. And then you can take your arms back down. Revolve your shoulders, loosen them. Lean back. And we're going to switch the legs. So you can do a little water ballet movement there. All these swimming references today. So I am definitely tighter on this side. So I think I'm gonna prop my foot up. Work? Yeah, no, I think I'll move it. So wedge my toes instead. So again, whichever leg is on the top, see if you can put the opposite arm on the top. And we're just gonna do the one arm variation of Gomukhasana. Take a deep breath. And then you can release your arms. Lean back again. And you can even use your arms to help, your hands to help you extract your legs. Okay, so let's now lie on our backs. Let's do some twisting, supine twisting. Just gonna put my blanket over here because I'll need it in a minute. Because we will be going to the wall. Supine twisting. So you can start off on your back, hugging your knees in toward the chest. And you can even rock from side to side. Kind of a warm-up, a rocking action. And then you can take your arms out in a T. And go ahead and rotate to the right. Close up your clamshell. Palms come together. And then go ahead and open up all the way out. You can manually adjust your head if you like, so that the chin comes more down toward the sternum. And then just let gravity. So taking another breath. So now engage the pelvic floor. Pull that elevator up and squeeze your butt muscles and draw the knees back up, top side. And do some ankle rolls and some foosting, the feet. And then when you're ready, we'll twist to the left. Taking the palms together again so that you close it up like big giant clams. And then go ahead and open. So if it feels okay for your neck, to turn your head into the twist, then, go ahead and do it. But test it out if your neck is feeling a little caught today, or it's just not happening, and then just gaze up at the ceiling. We shouldn't be afraid to twist the neck as long as we do it with respect. We do it mindfully. All right, one more breath. And then return your head so that you're gazing up at the ceiling. Contract the pelvic floor muscles. Bring that elevator up. Squeeze the butt. And draw your legs back up. And then you can hug your knees in again and rock for a few more breaths. And then when you're ready, so you could be sitting in the air in a crisscross applesauce. Reach around the outsides of your legs with your arms and then clasp your fingers around the pinky sides of your feet and rock. You can rock a few times until you're ready. Decide when it's the right time to sit all the way up. Take your time with that. All right, but then once you come up, let's set up at the wall for everybody's favorite. First will be Partha Karani. Bolster at the wall, but make sure you put, have some space between the wall and the bolster. Have a strap for your legs, and if you're using a rolled up mat to put between your lower legs, then go ahead and grab that as well. And as soon as you're ready, you can sit. You can put the strap on, belt around your thighs, and swing your legs up. So tighten your belt. So remember that we're using these props to keep our legs in Tadasana, in good alignment, so that we're retraining the legs, the muscles in the legs, and the kind of our habitual way of standing, our habitual way of doing everything that can be straining to the knees. So turning the feet so that the pinky sides of the feet are drawing towards you, and you might notice that then there's a slight internal rotation of your thighs, so that the inner thighs are kind of rolling in, moving towards the wall. You can clasp your hands overhead, or over the body rather, invert them So the palms are now facing the ceiling, and draw your arms over the head. Take your chin down toward the throat. And then you can release your clasp and slide your arms out in a T or a cactus kind of shape for the arms. And closing your eyes. Allowing the legs to feel that they are able to kind of rest or drop down toward the hip sockets. A sense of softening in the belly. Let your eyes settle deep in the sockets. Relax your jaw. Release the space beneath the cheekbones. Completely let go. Connecting with that sense of vast, clear awareness around all the activities of the body, around all the mind stuff. So for the last minute, if you like, you can embrace yourself in that Garuda eagle arms adaptation. Taking a few breaths. And then as you're ready, you can release the embrace and include sight in your experience now. You can bend your knees towards yourself so that you can remove your mat from between your legs if you had one there, and also loosen your belt. Take your belt off. And then roll to your side. And then as you're ready, go ahead and push yourself up and come to sit. And go ahead and take your palms together in front of your heart as you bow your head. And remember now, you already have everything that you need inside. Namaste. Do you want to build a snowman? No, just kidding. But do you want to do a back bend? Let's do another dhanurasana. We started this kind of bonus track, right? Bonus track from last week. Now I think I'll just put it at the end, though, because I think that not everybody's going to want to do them. All right. So I think that you can just clear space. You know, this is fine to just have lots of space for yourself for this. And bend your knees and step your feet in. And then just warm up your wrists a little bit. Because I think that one of the common difficulties, challenges for doing a full back bend is that it's hard on the hands and the wrists at first until you get used to it. So you can kind of take your hands, you're going to kind of flip them around backwards, palms down. And even here you can start to kind of lift the hips up and step your feet in a little closer together. And so remember, it's kind of like the clean and jerk, you know, the weightlifting event. So you're going to press and come to the head. So don't even think about it. Press and come to the head. And then take a moment. And then you're going to press and press up. Maybe, maybe not. So sometimes coming halfway is where you need to be. Honoring yourself. All right, so try again. Hands to the mat. Up you go. Now you can go on out there and face all those other challenges and difficulties. Stay in the sunshine.